Magic fans, I'm Beef and welcome back to another standard gameplay video, and today we are playing a Xur Overlord deck. So you may have seen this deck or something like this deck before. It's not particularly new, but it revolves around a card from Dominaria United, Xur Eternal Schemer. Xur is a 3 mana in Esper, white, blue and black, 1/4 flying. It says enchantment creatures you control have Death Touch, Lifelink and Hexproof, and you pay 1 and a white to target non-aura enchantment you control becomes a creature in addition to its other types and has base power and toughness each equal to its mana value. So this deck's been around for a while, focusing around Leyline binding and domain, as in getting as many land types on the battlefield. You have like Herd Migration, which can fetch those lands and then creates a 3/3 for each basic land type you have. And then Leyline Binding is a 6 mana enchantment that exiles a creature until the Leyline Binding leaves the battlefield. But it has flash, but its cost is reduced by 1 for each basic land type mana land you control. So if you have all 5 basic land types, it costs 1. And the idea was you would play that to remove something, animate it with and suddenly you've got a 6/6 lifelink Death Touch and Hexproof, making it very hard to deal with. But obviously in Duskmourn, we got the Overlords, which are enchantment creatures. So obviously if you play them out as a creature, they're going to get those buffs from Xur. But what's really good is you can play them for the impend cost and then animate them with Xur. And depending on the creature, so the Overlord actually shrinks down to a 5/5 with a 6/6. Overlord of the Hauntwoods, but Overlord of the Flood Pits becomes a 5/5, which is a buff, and Overlord of the Mistmoors becomes a 7/7, which is also a buff. So what's really good, if you can turn 3 Overlord of the Hauntwoods, you get that everywhere land. Turn 4, play your land drop, so you've got 5 lands, plays animate the Overlord of the Hauntwoods, smash in for a 5/5 lifelinker, and that is the basis of a deck. So we still have Leyline Binding to do the same thing as the deck did before, but it's a very slow deck. So to help with that, we have quite a lot of removal. We have 2 copies of Day of Judgment, 2 copies of Temporary Lockdown to deal with small creatures. The only permanence this would hit of as is Up the Beanstalk, which is not ideal, but it is better than nothing. And also it is an enchantment that we can rumble with if we need to. We have 1 copy of Split Up, just because against aggro decks they're probably going to swing in, and we can cast Split Up before getting the rest of our creatures down. And then 4 copies of Get Lost. I have just mentioned Up the Beanstalk, but we have 2 copies of Analyze the Pollen, 1 for a turn 1 play. But we could potentially then fetch up Xur later on if we can collect evidence 8 in our graveyard, or we can just fetch a land earlier on. Mana base is quite tough. We need black mana for Xur, but Xur is the only card which uses black mana. So we do have a couple of swamps and 1 underground mortuary. Cavern of Souls, we're usually playing on Avatar or Horror, but you can play it on Human or Wizard if you really need to cast Xur, which is why obviously Analyze the Pollen and Herd Migration is really, really good, because it lets us fetch up any basic land. And obviously Overlord of the Hauntwoods, everywhere land counts everything, so immediately causes our Leyline Binding to cost 1. We get full power Herd Migration. It turns on all our verges. We do have 4 Flood Farm verges and 4 Hushwood verges, and obviously lets us get any mana we want to cast Xur. So that's the deck. It is, I said, it's very slow. The opening hand is very, very important. And a lot of times while I was learning, I was like, oh, I can keep this hand, but it was a bit too slow. It said, ideally you want turn 3 Overlord of the Hauntwoods into turn 4 Xur and animate the Hauntwoods. That's probably the nut draw. But removal is key, because obviously there's a lot of aggro decks in the format. So really, really enjoy this one. It's been around for a while, but it's one of those ones that has quite good synergy. And the next set, Ether Drift, is more artifact focused, not enchantment focused. So we probably won't see much that can be added to this deck. So this might be the best form of it for a while. So hope you all enjoy it. If you do, please remember to like and subscribe, and I'll see you all in the gameplay. We go first. We need a second green source for Overlord, and then that should really get us on our way. Sure, we can get with Analyze the Pollen, or just that. I think I'd get a blue source of Analyze the Pollen. Well, no blue source, an island. Next turn we Overlord. They've gone up the beanstalk. Lucky them. I don't think we're greedy. This means next turn we can Zer and then turn on Overlord. Second up the beanstalk. And start smacking in. And next turn we can up the beanstalk. What do they have? See, hopefully not a Sunfall. They can't cast that yet. Day of Judgment, they can cast. We'll play this on Avatar. Let's just attack. Oh, there's another there. There's no point playing it yet. We get our Overlord back down, and next turn again we can Zer and turn it on and hit in for 5, hopefully. I think they've got their own Overlords. Yep. Whether they have Zer though. And we can impend and we'll put back Hedge Maze, and then we can hold up Leyline Binding. Which will let us draw a card. Yeah, that's a bit annoying. I would like another Zer now. Right, let's Overlord properly, because then we draw. Because temporary lockdown will get rid of our up the beanstalk. So we have another up the beanstalk. And we can hold up Leyline Binding. Could even destroy our own temporary lockdown to get out other up the beanstalk back. I would like them to play something I can Leyline bind in so I can draw. They're looking at our temporary lockdown, I think. Ooh, what do they go for? Lockdown or Leyline binding? Lock. Oh no, it is binding. There's another Leyline binding. I think they still have a removal, maybe a get loss. Well, we've got all the Overlords. We will discard our planes. Let's up the beanstalk. And let's temporary lockdown to clear their blockers. And our up the beanstalks, but oh well. And we have a get lost ready to go. We have seen over half our deck. What are they targeting? So a bit of a mirror match. Obviously, we don't want them to have another Sunfall. Or a Leyline binding. Do they just go dig in? Fortunately, Leyline Binding is opponent controls. I would like to Leyline Binding my own temporary lockdown and then get lost my temporary lockdown. Oh, they do play Xur. Right. How are we doing this? Let's play Xur. I suppose we can just clear their blockers out of the way and swing in for lethal, I think. They've only got 3 mana, which means they shouldn't have enough to kill Xur and an Overlord. So I don't believe they have full domain for Leyline Binding. Could be wrong. And they've only got 1 left anyway. They don't have any black mana for Nowhere to Run if they're playing that. And yeah. They were hovering over things, so I think they thought they maybe had something, but yeah, obviously giving our Overlords hexproof means they can't target it. We go first. Well, we do need a second green source for Overlord, but otherwise we have a pretty good hand. Oh, up the beanstalk. Might be able to help us draw into the green source. A second line breaker. Unfortunately, we've not drawn a single land. This is basically to draw. We'll play this on Avatar. Day of Judgment against Infestation Stage isn't the best. But we can Xur and then turn on Overlord. Hopefully they don't have a move for Xur. Looks like they do. So I really want the life gain, but we do have a second Xur. Don't need that. Well, they're tapped out. Play out our second swing in. They can triple block. But I really only care about the life gain. Let's play out a second Overlord. Make it a land drop. Yeah, why not? Let's play out a second up the beanstalk. Next time we can herd migration, create a lot of beasts. Three, 4, 5, so 7. Yeah, I'm going to take that. Yeah, we're down to 3. And I will impend our Overlord. Let's put back Lush Border Coat. And then I can still... No, I can't quite herd migration. But again, I can impend the Overlord. And yeah, our opponent skips it up. We drew the Leyline binding, and we probably Leyline Varan or wait for them to attack and turn on. It'll be a 7/7, and yeah, we're gaining so much life just from attacking and blocking. Their chip damage and Varan and Braids probably isn't going to do much. We go first, well, with... I think this is too slow. I suppose this is better. We can put away a Zer, although no removal means we could be in trouble. There's a bit of removal, which we can cast once we cast our Overlord. Please no deep coming back. They had their own Overlord. They get back as a Harvest of Misery? Yeah. That turns on our Hauntwood Verges. Makes our Leyline binding only cost 1. If we draw land... No, we don't draw land. So if we draw land, we could... Zer and turn on our Overlord. We'll hold up Leyline binding. So we'd like a blue source so we can impend our other Overlord, Overlord of the Flood Pits. I won't block because they could discard the Harvester to kill our Well, now we can turn on our Overlord. Get in for 5. So we'll get in for 6. Create another land. And yeah, we'll hold up Leyline Binding and get lost. And we're not that worried about the Dread Knight with lifelink. I'm surprised they didn't have removal for Xur, apart from the Harvester. Yeah, they stay back. Well, let's bind the Dread Knight to get out of the way. They do have something. They're going to, yeah, take out Xur. Our Overlord is still a creature, but it doesn't have hexproof, lifelink, death touch. Well, let's get in an attack. They might have go for the throat or something. It doesn't seem like they do. I want to impend Floodlord, Overlord of the Flood Pits. Because you have to split up, I think I'm going to get rid of Day of Judgment. And we'll Surveil. I want to find another Xur. And we can hold up, get lost. Take out their Overlord probably at the end of their turn. What the hell do they have? They can't cast anything with 5 mana and 5 cards in hand. I do get some treasures, but no creatures to use it on. Well, I think we do get a Xur. We'll just Overlord and Xur. And we can turn on our other Overlord and maybe have lethal. But you need to take out Xur and have removal for our other two. Which, yeah, they've got 5 mana, they could easily have 2 go for the throats. Don't know why they wouldn't have used it already. Okay, that doesn't do anything. Yeah, one of the powerful things about Xur is it doesn't turn off the creature. And obviously with our Overlord of the Hauntwood, because it did get rid of all its impend counters, it would have been a creature anyway. And I think it's a 6/5, I think the Overlord is. So it is actually smaller when Xur activates it. But yeah, the Overlord of the Flood Pits is actually a bigger creature. And I think, yeah, Overlord of Mistmores will be a bigger creature as well if it's animated by Xur. Opponent goes first. But, well, hopefully Up the Beanstalk can draw us into more lands. And Head Mage will turn on Flood Farm Verge. Second up the beanstalk. And the third land. I think we just play out the Portico. Yeah, I'd like Xur. Don't have black mana yet. Temporary lockdown will clean up Innkeeper's Talent. And that. They can't play out the Manifold Mouse this turn. Yeah, let's level up. Yeah, so we will temporary lockdown. We can do that again. I would like another land so we can up the beanstalk and maybe hold up, get lost. Don't know why they did that in their second main phase. So it looks like we are temporary lockdown in again. And hopefully they don't have another Haywire Might. Well, I think we use this to fetch a swamp, so we can play Xur next turn. But for now, we'll just up the beanstalk. I am just green, just in case we do hit another land, which we don't. Yeah, we'll take one. Right, now we can play out Xur. And then if we need to, we can turn our temporary lockdown into a creature, which does give it hexproof. So we play out another Haywire Might and target the lockdown. Otherwise we could just get lost. Well, we know they have a Monstrous Rage. Yeah, I'll take that. We are going to get hit for 5, but now we can start gaining life with our various enchantments. now we just tapped. Turn on lockdown. Might be a bit risky, but I don't think they've got any sweepers. And obviously we know they've just drawn the Manifold Mouse. They do offspring it. I think next turn let's play out Overlord unimpended. Obviously they can block with temporary lockdown and kill it now. I mean, hopefully we draw into a white source. There's a green source, and that's a white source. And we can hold up Leyline Binding. They don't have any more green mana to level it up. They're going all in on that little mouse. Do they attack with it? They do. You draw a couple more cards. Take out that little dude. Let's just turn on Leyline. And yeah, opponent scoops it up. We're about to hit in for... Leyline's what? 6, 12, 15, 16, which 15 is lifelink as well. Hello Magic fans, and welcome back to a very quick wrap up. So as I said in the deck tech, this deck is powerful, but it is slow. You need to survive until turn 4 or 5, and then because of all the lifelink you can turn the corner, but obviously with all the like mono red aggro decks or Rakdos aggro decks, it can be tough to get there, especially if you're on the draw. You could put in some more removal. So we do have a lot of removal with Leyline Binding, Day of Judgment, Temporary Lockdown and Split Up. You can maybe put in a couple more Temporary Lockdowns because they just decimate the mono red. But I'm not sure what you would take out. Maybe the Herd Migration. It does gain life and fetch lands, but we do only have 2 of them. So maybe take out 2 of those, put in 2 more Temporary Lockdown, or maybe take out the Split Up and put another Temporary Lockdown in. I think that's the changes I would make if I was doing this deck again. As I said, I don't think there's going to be many enchantments in Aether Drift. It is a mostly artifact vehicle based set, so if you like this kind of deck, this might be the best form. Mana might be a bit better. We are getting the other Verges, so I think we're going to get a white-black Verge and maybe a green-black Verge, so that might help with making sure we have mana for Zur. As I said, Zur is the only black card we have, so we don't have many swamps, and if you don't get a swamp or a Cavern of Souls or your Overlord or Hauntwoods, you can't play Zur basically. So we will see when Aether Drift comes out in a couple of weeks. So for now, I really enjoyed it. Hope you all did too. If you did, please remember to like and subscribe, and I'll see you all in the next video.